My $300 bought less than 200 in old style bills. But I didn't care. Eggs were 13 cents a dozen in 1894. Now, he gave $300 and in return he could get only $200 of the old currency. But it did not bother him because things were cheaper in 1894 and he was planning to go in that time. Eggs were only for 13 cents. A dozen eggs were only for 13 cents. But I've never again found the corridor that leads to the third level at Grand Central Station, although I've tried often enough. But Charlie, he was not able to find the third level again. He could not find the corridor only. And though he tried very often, tried to find the corridor that led to the third level. Louisa was pretty worried when I told her all this and did not want me to look for the third level anymore. His wife, Louisa, was very worried at what he said and told him that don't look for third level anymore. And after a while, I stopped. After a while, the narrator, Charlie also got, he also stopped looking for the third level. He got discouraged. I went back to my stamps. But now we are both looking every weekend because now we have proof that the third level is still there. But after some time, he again started looking for the third level along with his wife. He had gone back to his stamp collecting, but now again he is looking for the third level because they feel that they have a proof that the third level exists. My friend Sam Weiner disappeared. Nobody knew where, but I sort of suspected because Sam's a city boy and I used to tell him about Galesburg. Now his friend Sam Weiner, the psychiatrist, he disappeared suddenly and nobody knew where he went. And Charlie suspected because Sam was a city boy. He liked places, quiet places like Galesburg and I used to tell him about Galesburg. He used to tell him about Galesburg, the quiet life of Galesburg. I went to school there and he always said he liked the sound of the place. So when Charlie described Galesburg to his friend Sam, Sam used to like the place. He used to say that it sounds good. And that's where he is, all right, in 1894. And Charlie now believed that Sam had found the third level and he was in Galesburg and he was back in time, that is in 1894. Because one night, fussing with my stamp collection, I found, well, do you know what a first day cover is? So one night, while he was fussing over his stamp collection, he was going through his stamp collection, he found that first day cover. He was looking at his stamps and he came across a first day cover. Now he asks if the reader knows what the first day cover is. When a new stamp is issued, stamp collectors buy and use them to mail envelopes to themselves on the very first day of sale, and the postmark proves the date. Like I had explained earlier, that they put the stamp on an envelope with a blank paper in it, and they mail it at their own address, so that the postmark on the stamp will prove the date. The envelope is called a first day cover. They are never opened. They are never opened because there's only a blank paper in it. You just put blank paper in the envelope. It is actually the worth of the stamp increases. That night, among my oldest first day covers, I found one that should not have been there, but there it was. Now, when he was going through his stamps and his first day covers, he found one which he feels that it should not have been there, but there it was. It was there because someone had mailed it to my grandfather at his home in Galesburg. Now, it was there because that first cover had been sent to his grandfather instead of sending to himself. The person who had mailed it, he mailed it at the grandfather's address in Galesburg. That's what the address on the envelope said. And it had been there since July 18th, 1894. And that first cover had been there since July 18th, 1894. The postmark showed that. Now the date could be confirmed because of the post office stamp on the stamp. Yet I did not remember it at all. Still, though he had seen all his first day covers and all his stamps, he never remembered this particular first day cover. The stamp was a 6-cent dull brown with a picture of President Garfield. Naturally, when the envelope came to Granddad in the mail, it went right into his collection and stayed there. So, it had not been opened, and whenever it came to his grandfather's mailbox, and it was kept in his collection till I took it out and opened it. Now, the narrator, that is Charlie, he took that envelope out and he opened it. The paper inside wasn't blank. It read, Charlie, I got to wishing that you were right. Then I got to believing you were right. And Charlie, it's true. I found the third level. I've been here 2 weeks, and right now down the street at the Dailies, someone is playing a piano, and they are all out on the front porch singing, seeing Nellie home. And I'm invited over for lemonade. Come on back, Charlie and Louisa. Keep looking till you find the third level. It's worth it, believe me. Now, this was a letter. To his amazement, this was a letter from his friend Sam. The paper inside the first cover was not blank. It was a letter from his friend Sam. And the message that he sent was that he had found, when he heard about third level from Charlie, he wanted to believe him. He wished that Charlie was right. And then he wanted to believe that whatever Charlie was saying was right. And it was true, because he tried to find the third level and he found it. And he had gone to the third level. It was now 2 weeks since then. And down the street, he tells Charlie that at Delhi's, that is, someone is playing a piano, and they are all out on the front porch singing, saying Nellie home. They are singing, that is, the atmosphere there was very peaceful. There was no stress, and the people were quite happy. And I'm invited over for lemonade. Lemonade is a lime drink. So he says that he has been invited there, and he also tells Charlie and Louisa to keep looking for the third level, and they should also join him. The note is signed Sam. At the stamp and coin store I found out that Sam bought $800 worth of old style currency. Now, to check, the narrator, that is Charlie, went to the coin store, and he found that Sam had bought old currency worth $800. That ought to set him up in a nice little hay field and grain business. So, Charlie thinks, he anticipates that This much amount of money, $800, would be enough for him to establish a small business of hay, grain, and other feed. He always said that's what he really wished he could do, and he certainly can't go back to his old business. His old business was what? He was a psychiatrist. So, obviously, in the olden times, he could not become a psychiatrist there. He'll have to do a business that would be according to that time. So, he wanted to do something like doing a business of hay and other feed of the animals and fowl and grain business. So he got into that business only, not in Galesburg, Illinois. So he can't become a psychiatrist in Galesburg in 1894, that too. His old business. Why? Sam was my psychiatrist. So Sam was a psychiatrist, but he could not take up this as a profession. So he'll have to do some agriculture based business only.